Well, I gotta be honest. I had very low expectations for this machine. With Bissell's redesign back in 2016 of all of their PowerForce and the majority of their budget and mid-range machines to this design, from the legacy design that initially started with the Bissell Power Glide in 2001, they finally changed it after 15 years, and mixed feelings were in my head for quite a while. Now, I have yet to use the bagged version, but this is my second time using a bagless variant. So, this is the second time I've used one of these PowerForce Helixes, and honestly, I'm fairly impressed with it. There's a lot of things that I was very worried about that would be terrible on this machine, at least so I thought. But after using it, it actually is fairly good, and it's honestly left me fairly impressed. I mean, I'm kind of speechless with how much I've actually enjoyed using this machine. So, little backstory. I got this a couple days ago from the video where I also obtained the Hoover Elite Rewind and the Kenmore Progressive Canister. The canister's still out there. I still haven't touched it, so I'll have to do that either today or tomorrow and actually fix that one up. But in the meantime, both the Hoover and this have left me impressed. And don't get me wrong, there's still things I don't like about this machine. And there's still things that I believe are a significant downgrade from the original PowerForce bagless. However, compared to the Helix model that this immediately replaced, this is miles better. Miles better. So, for those wondering, this is actually the first revision of what is now a revision 2 model of this machine. So this one is model 1700. It has an 8 amp motor, and this one was manufactured in 2016. So the current version that's out is the only real difference is that the PowerForce Helix branding is along the front, and they added a clear window on the power foot, similar to my CleanView Power Track. But beyond that, they haven't really changed much that I can tell. So this is obviously the Generation 1 of this redesign, and not the Gen 2. One thing I hate about this design, about this model specifically, is that the bagged PowerForce and the PowerForce Turbo have a stretch hose. This does not. And even after the redesign that they did recently of this, or the update, I should say, they still have not gotten rid of this awful, god-awful, terrible garbage hose. This is still, common on this machine. This is still what you're gonna get, and it's terrible because it's frankly useless. Or I shouldn't say it's useless. It's useful, but it's very annoying to use. And that's my biggest complaint. I would only get this variant if you don't care about the hose. If you care about the hose, then spend the extra couple bucks and get the turbo variant. Even if you don't use the turbo brush, just get the turbo variant. Besides, I have used the turbo variant. That's the other version of this that I used. And it's a little bit better, but not by much. The main reason is the hose, obviously, because beyond that it's identical. So I prefer the turbo, but this one gets the job done just fine, and since this one is actually mine, then this is what we're rolling with. So I am going to keep this machine, because honestly that's how much it impressed me. But just a little overview of it. We have the foot switch, which on the bagless PowerForces were always there. If you're going from a bagged unit, I will purchase a bagged unit at some point. Not sure when, but if I get some extra money, I'm hopefully selling the Dyson today because I have a bid on eBay. So hopefully that gets sold, and I might pick up one of the new PowerForces if I can't get a Phantom that I'm trying to get. So if I don't get that Phantom Fury that I've been looking at, then I might pick up one of the new PowerForces, the bagged ones, especially since I want to test out some HEPA bags. But anyways, back to this. So it didn't come with any attachments. So the extension wand is from an old Clean View, and the crevice tool and dusting brush are from a PowerForce Compact from a few years back. The one that's basically the redesigned Bissell Easy Vac, and not the new generation PowerForce Compact. So, because on the real brush, these bristles are blue. So, and also, one person who was reviewing this had this set up like this, and was wondering why it kept falling off, and that's because on this version, there isn't a lot of grace room with the upper cord hook, so you need to have the crevice tool stored inside the extension wand for it to fit properly onto the machine. Whereas on the bagged unit, it's on the side, so if you want to add a wand to the end of it, or leave the crevice tool up for easier access, then, you can do that. So I would still recommend getting the bagged version, but if you want a bagless, this one is very good. So that's about my thoughts and my opinions on this. I like how light it is compared to the outgoing model. I do like the blue accents and the blue coloring. It looks nice. I don't like how there's no longer a rubber bumper on the base, which is bad because you can tell this has gotten scratched up pretty badly. And obviously, if you have anything delicate as far as furniture goes, you have to worry about this scratching. But to be fair, I don't think the outgoing PowerForces had that either, because I think that's another thing they stripped out whenever they got super cheap. And I know if you buy the Bissell Big Green commercial, which I linked in my PowerForce video, which has the same design, they also got rid of that bumper. So I've actually seen some of those commercial units where people have added their own bumpers, or companies have, to make it more durable. But I've been rambling for quite a bit. Let's actually use this machine. By the way, I've already used this to vacuum the hallway, as well as that bedroom over there. And I hadn't used this prior. And this is what it got up. So we got a fairly nice amount. And then, of course, you have the pre-motor filter in the top, which is already caked with dust because you know how these Bissells work. And it has a post-motor filter, but unless you have the turbo variant that has HEPA, you can't access this at all. So it's the same way on the bagged unit. There is not user accessible. There probably is a way you can get it out. And I know there is a filter underneath there, so there probably is a way you can get it out, but I don't know how to. And again, that's another reason why I would say just spend the extra couple bucks and get the turbo, because it has a HEPA filter, and the HEPA filter does a decent job, and it's also washable just like the pre-motor filter. So again, I recommend, if you want bagless, spend the extra couple bucks and get the PowerForce Helix Turbo. So that's even though I like this machine and I do recommend it, I recommend you buy the turbo. I don't recommend you buy this machine unless, like I said, you only use it for floors and you don't care about the tools and you don't care about the fact that the freaking hose sticks out to the point where you can't put it all the way against the wall because the damn hose gets in the way. So, enough of my rant. Let's run this thing. If I can hold this right. Is this thing focused? Okay, there we go. That was a lot of vacuuming. So, yeah. This, honestly, you know, I know this is like the one video I made on this, but I mean, I've pretty much already given my thoughts on it. There's not really much else I have to say. I mean, it's a good machine. Performs very well. Honestly, there's a lot worse that Bissell could have done to this machine when compared to the outgoing Helix models. Honestly, I think this is probably, minus the original 6594, I believe that was model number, the PowerForce baglesses with the deluxe stretch hose and the wide cleaning path and obviously the headlight. Excluding that variant, I honestly think this is probably the best, or at least one of the best, PowerForce baglesses there is. If you exclude that model, and maybe even the next model, the last model that had a headlight, in terms of PowerForce bagless models that don't have a headlight, this one, in my opinion, is one of the best. Maybe not the best. My point is, it's better than the Helix, and it might even be better than the 6584, which I believe was the one that ran from 2010 that had this garbage hose and then didn't have a headlight and had the 10 amp motor. I think this is honestly better than that. So the only PowerForces baglesses that beat this are the 12 amp variants, in my opinion. And especially the variants with the headlight, which they didn't make a 10 amp variant with the headlight as far as I know. So any of the 12 amp variants are still probably as good, if not better. But in terms of the 10 amp and any of the redesigned versions that have this garbage hose, which I think there was a 12 amp version that had this hose. So, you know, you get my point. It's not the worst. It's actually a very good machine, and I'm actually fairly impressed with it. So, a lot more positive than I initially expected to be. But honestly, Bissell, I have to give you guys credit. You know, a lot of us Bissell collectors had you guys up to scrutiny. We were kind of like crying wolf whenever you redesign these, since a lot of us have had great experiences. In fact, where's my PowerForce? That's the one I'm selling, but here's mine. So, yeah. Honestly, I still like that one. But if that was the bagless version, it'd be hard to tell. And when I say the bagless version, I mean the one without the headlight. Because again, the headlight alone makes these older versions better. And then obviously this one's bagged. But I am very impressed with what Bissell did with this. And it'll be interesting to get the bagged new PowerForce and compare it to this and see how well the new generation really stacks up. So my review of this was going to be an up and running video, but it's just going to be a review pretty much. But if you guys want more videos on this, let me know. So that was my review of the Bissell PowerForce Helix. Anyway, guys, this is Intelitech Studio signing out. I hope you all have a good one. And yeah, I'm surprisingly impressed with this. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.